What if I told you that the long-awaited Sony A7S IV is not only happening, but that it's coming in a way no one really saw coming? After years of radio silence, countless rumors, and growing frustration from loyal Alpha shooters, Sony has finally broken the pattern. But instead of following the playbook they themselves created with previous A7S models, it looks like they're rewriting the rules altogether. And that's where things get interesting, because if the latest leaks and insider reports are accurate, the A7S IV could be one of the most surprising and controversial cameras Sony has ever made. Let's set the scene. The A7S series earned its reputation by specializing in ultra-low light video performance, a feat largely made possible by its 12-megapixel sensor. That low pixel count gave it massive individual photo sights, allowing the camera to see in the dark where others struggled. It was a camera that didn't chase megapixels, it chased results. And that's why many filmmakers and creators fell in love with the A7S line in the first place. But according to new leaks, the Sony A7S IV is set to leave that formula behind. Sources now suggest that the Sony A7S IV will feature a brand new sensor in the range of 20.5 to 24.2 megapixels, essentially doubling the resolution compared to the A7S III. That's right, the iconic 12MP sensor is being retired. On the surface, this sounds like a move that completely contradicts everything the A7S line has stood for. After all, low megapixels were the very foundation of its unmatched low light capability. So what gives? Is this really still an S camera? That's the million-dollar question stirring debate across Sony communities and camera forums. But before we jump to conclusions, it's important to understand that Sony isn't just cramming more pixels onto a sensor and calling it innovation. According to sources close to the development, the A7S IV's new sensor won't be your average full-frame chip. It will reportedly be a stacked CMOS sensor featuring a dual-layer design. This approach is engineered to preserve and even enhance low-light performance despite the increase in resolution. In other words, Sony is attempting to have its cake and eat it too, offering higher detail while still excelling in dark environments. And the most exciting part? This sensor is rumored to include dual native ISO, with the second native level potentially reaching ISO 25600. If true, this would be a staggering improvement and could redefine what's possible when shooting in near total darkness. Just imagine pulling clean footage at ISO 25600 without introducing heavy noise or sacrificing color fidelity. That's a game changer for filmmakers who work in unpredictable or low-light environments. Of course, the A7S line has always been about more than just ISO performance. It's been a staple for video shooters across the world thanks to its robust video specs, and the A7S IV looks ready to raise that bar dramatically. Leaks suggest that the A7S IV will offer internal 6K recording at multiple frame rates, including 24, 30, 60, and even a staggering 120 frames per second. That's a level of resolution and flexibility we've rarely seen in cameras of this size and class. Even more exciting is the rumored ability to oversample 4K video from that 6K footage, giving users extremely sharp, detailed images with reduced aliasing and noise. 4K at 120 FPS, oversampled from 6K, is not just impressive, it's cinematic gold. It gives content creators the freedom to slow down footage for dramatic scenes while preserving fine detail, all within a highly portable form factor. Sony also seems to be addressing some of the lingering pain points from previous generations. One of the biggest complaints with the A7S III and earlier models was rolling shutter during fast motion. Early reports indicate that the A7S IV will see major improvements in this area, possibly thanks to the stacked sensor design which allows for faster readout speeds. This could make the camera much more usable for action-heavy shoots, rapid panning, or gimbal work. But that's not all. One of the biggest surprises in this wave of leaks is Sony's reported push into artificial intelligence with the A7S IV. While AI-based autofocus isn't new, Sony appears to be taking it much further this time. The camera will likely be powered by the next-gen Bions XR processor, now enhanced with advanced AI-driven subject recognition and tracking. This could mean pinpoint accuracy when locking focus on faces, eyes, animals, or even complex subjects in low-light or cluttered environments. For solo shooters or small production teams, this kind of reliable tracking could be a dream come true. It eliminates the need for a dedicated focus puller and ensures your subject stays tack sharp, even as they move unpredictably or in dim lighting. The implications for run-and-gun filmmaking, documentary work, and event shooting are huge. Sony is also rumored to be including a completely new internal cooling system designed to combat overheating during long recording sessions. This is a major concern for hybrid shooters who rely on small mirrorless cameras for hours of continuous shooting. Combined with an 8-stop in-body image stabilization system, the A7S IV could become one of the most dependable and versatile full-frame video cameras ever made. Now, all of this sounds incredible, until we talk about the price. The Sony A7S III launched at around $3,499, which was already on the high end for most creators. But the A7S IV? Industry insiders suggest we're looking at a price between $3,999 and $4,500 just for the body. That's a steep hike, making it not only one of the most advanced cameras in its class but also one of the most expensive. And the bad news doesn't end there. Despite the flurry of leaks and whispers, the Sony A7S IV isn't expected to launch anytime soon. Based on current projections and internal scheduling patterns, the release window is likely late 2025 or even early 2026. That's a long time to wait, especially considering how fast the competition is moving. By the time the A7S IV arrives, Canon, Panasonic, and others may have already introduced their next-generation hybrid or cinema cameras, possibly leaving Sony playing catch-up. So the big question remains, is all this worth the wait? That depends on what you value most. If you're looking for a pure low-light monster like the original A7S, this new version may feel like a departure. It's gaining features and versatility, but it's also becoming more generalized, perhaps losing a bit of the specialized magic that made the A7S series so iconic. Sony appears to be evolving the A7S into a more well-rounded camera rather than a dedicated tool for low-light filmmakers. That might be a smart move in today's competitive market, but it also risks alienating the very users who championed the A7S line to begin with. Ultimately, the A7S IV looks poised to be an incredible piece of technology. Higher resolution, better low-light capabilities, 6K video, AI-enhanced autofocus, oversampled 4K, improved cooling, and advanced stabilization all point to a camera that's ready to dominate the hybrid market. But it also comes at a cost, literally and figuratively. It's more expensive, it's arriving later than expected, and it may no longer embody the original A7S philosophy of simple, low-resolution excellence in extreme conditions. So where does that leave us? Well, if you're on the fence about waiting another year or more for the Sony A7S IV, it might be worth exploring other options. For some creators, the Sony A7 V could actually be a better fit, and in my next video, I dive deep into exactly why. Until then, the Sony A7S IV remains one of the most exciting and controversial upcoming releases in the mirrorless world. Whether it's a bold step forward or a misstep in direction will depend entirely on how Sony executes this vision, and how the filmmaking community responds.